And here we go. Hey, everybody, how's it going today? Today, we are going to be ripping into a box of Toronto Maple Leaf Centennial from 2017. Got 12 packs inside, 8 cards per pack. Cellophane is off to save us some time so we can start ripping. These are fun twin tins. They are not the hobby box version, so obviously we won't get all the hits that you normally get in a hobby box, but we will still get some good stuff in there. And one of the things that you do get in tins that you don't get in the hobby boxes is you get these little insert Stanley Cup banners. There's one available for each year that the Leafs won the Stanley Cup. So those are pretty fun to collect. So we'll see which one we got there. Let's open this guy up and see how it looks. By the way, the tin looks really fabulous also. It's really nice collector's edition. There's been a few teams that are celebrating their 100th. Of course, Boston just celebrated theirs recently, and we got the Rangers and I believe Chicago coming up next. And this one is 1963's banner. Fantastic. So now we got a 1963. There's what the other one looks like, just so you can compare. They look exactly the same other than just the date on the bottom, though the Leaf logo is darker on this one. So let's get this one off because it is kind of tucked up in there with some sticky glue, and get the packs out and we can start ripping here. Just adjust the camera a little bit here so we can see them better. Pull them all out, get the tin out of the way, and let's count up the packs here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's start ripping. There's all kinds of good stuff in here. Obviously, it's celebrating the Maple Leafs 100 years, so we're going to just see Maple Leaf players. There are 200 cards in the set, 100 base cards, 100 short prints, which are not super hard to get short prints. There's some die cut cards in there, which look really nice. And a few other things that we'll show you as we rip along here, just so you can see them yourself. I'll call them out as we go through. Daniel Merwa starts things off for the Maple Leafs, and as you can see, that's what the base cards look like with the date that the player was on the team for. And I'll just show you the back of the card also. It gives you all their stats, which is awesome. So that's how the base cards look. There's Miro Freacher. A lot of these players, unfortunately, have passed away. Freacher is one of them. One of my all-time favorite Leafs, Vincent Damphousse. Love this guy. I used to have an album of his hockey cards when I was a kid. That's how much I liked him. Or not as a kid, as a teenager. Caberlet, amazing player here. And you'll notice that, like I said, all the base cards, most of them will be numbered up to 100. And then the short prints are over the 100, which is this one here, 181. And this is Daryl Sittler with the memorable moments. That's one of the different little subsets you can collect here. Put that upside. Dave Reed, Eddie Shack, going way back, and Jim Morrison, another guy going way back. There's some beautiful names in the set. Of course, there'll be a few names missing. That's going to happen sometimes, but overall, it's still a really fun set. And like I said, the same thing's going on with a lot of NHL teams right now, or a lot of the original 6 NHL teams hitting their 100 years. So we're seeing a lot of these nice cards for each team. Frank Mahovlich, Frederick Anderson, Bob Neely. And here comes our short print for Norm Ullman with the Hockey Hall of Fame subset cards. There's the back of that one. Al Iafredi with our first die cut card. And the die cuts look exactly like the base cards, with the exception of the fact that it's shaped like a maple leaf, which is kind of cool. Freddie Modine, Bill Barilko, and Errol Thompson, sorry. Beautiful cards. Some nice oldies there. I started watching the Leafs in the kind of the late 70s, so I missed a lot of these players from the 60s who won a lot of the cups for the Leafs in the 60s, which is really a shame, but I still love those players anyway. Sil Apps here from a much earlier era. Nazem Kadri, Dan Maloney, who later became the coach of the Leafs for a little while. And all right, I shouldn't say one of my all-time favorite Leaf defensemen, Boreas Salming, another one who passed away. Retired numbers there. Beautiful card of him there. And there's the stand-up retired numbers. And what a great defenseman he was. Of course, one of the original Swedish players to come over and play in North America. Mike Krushelnyski, Gary Volk, Bob Rouse, and Ken Baumgartner makes his way into the pack there. Ken was quite the enforcer, of course. And let's get into this next one here. There are cards of players as recent as Matthews and Marner in here. Another one of my favorites, Felix Potvin. He and Cujo are two of my favorites, along with Mike Palmateer in the net. Howie Meeker. I grew up on this guy's hockey books when I was a kid. Great player. Mike Walton, who I met. Harry Lumley. Here comes our next die cut card. Laurie Boschman. Look at that. Remember him well. John Anderson. Jake Gardner. John Anderson, super funny guy. I met him also. Really nice, really funny, great guy. Jake Gardner and Johnny Bauer. Awesome. That's fantastic. Let's get into the next one. I'll tell you a quick story about John Anderson when I met him. He was in a really good mood, so I asked him, out of all the players you played with on your team in the Leafs, who was the funniest guy in the dressing room? And he looked at me and he said, "You're looking at him right now. I'm the funniest guy that's in the dressing room." And he goes, "Just to prove it, let's take a funny picture together." And we took a hilarious picture together, which is cool. Great guy. Nick Antropov, Don Metz, Grant Fuhr, Charlie Conacher. There he is. Dougie Gilmore. How do Leaf fans love this guy? That's under the captain subset here. Card number 108. Another guy I met, and just one of my absolute all-time favorites. Growing up, Daryl Sittler and Boreas Salming were my two favorite Leafs, and then Gilmore came along after that, and he became my favorite. And what a great player he was. James Van Riemsdyk, Pete Stemkowski, and Sergei Berezin, another player who passed away not too long ago, unfortunately. And those teams with Gilmore on it, man, he saved his best for his years with the Leafs. Obviously, he was great with Calgary. He was good with St. Louis too. But those 100-point seasons with the Leafs were just amazing. And the playoffs. Harry Lumley comes up next. Mike Gardner, another amazing player. Mike Foligno. His kids are in the NHL right now, as you know. One of them playing on Chicago. Ed Belfour, another great Leaf goalie. Leafs have had some really famous goalies in their history, just been amazing. Barry Melrose with the die cut card there. A lot of American players will know. Americans know him because he does a lot of broadcasting in the USA. Boreas Salming again. King Clancy, what a legend he was. And Mitch Marner, who of course is not a Maple Leaf as of just recently, which was really too bad. He was a very, very talented guy. Really, Leaf fans gave him a really tough time here, unfortunately, and I hope we don't pay the price for that. Russ Gordon, part of the Hound line, by the way. Ed Belfour again. Phil Kessel. We all remember Phil the Thrill. And a memorable moments card of Bobby Bond. Look at that. That is beautiful. Let's put Bobby over at the side here. Brian Berard with the die cut. Had a tough time with an eye injury during his time with the Leafs, but came back from it. Tom Fergus, another one who passed away, Morgan Riley, and Barry Melrose again. We're halfway through the packs so far. There's going to be some players in here that obviously people will not recognize, but if you're a Leaf fan, a lot of these names will be familiar to you. There's Wendell Clark, another person I met this year, a super nice guy. Bobby Baun, Robert Reichel, Lanny McDonald, one of the original amazing guys with the Leafs that I grew up watching. Fantastic guy with the memorable moments card. There we go. Let's put him aside here. Al Iafrate, Laurie Boschman, Shane Corson, and Bill Derlago. Boy, oh boy, what a player he was, Bill Derlago. He was the centerman for the Leafs in the 80s, mostly centering Captain Rick Vive during the years where Rick Vive got his 50 goals. And of course, Rick was the very first guy to score 50 goals for the Leafs, and Derlago was assisting on most of those. Peter Idachek. I actually had him pass by my school one day out on the street and got to say hi to him, meet him. Didn't say very much, but he seemed like an okay guy. Bill Berg, Dougie Gilmore, and memorable moments for Don Metz from a long time ago. That's from the 48-49 season. Wow. What history they have. Jonas Högland, longtime winger for Matt Sundin. Högland got a card. Matt Sundin didn't. Go figure. Wolf Paymont. Tell you an interesting story. A lot of Leaf fans might know this, but a lot of other people won't know this. Wolf Paymont was one of the only players in the NHL other than Wayne Gretzky to wear number 99. Can you believe that? Yep, that's right. Dick Irvin. That's from 1931 to 1939. Oh, talk about a long time ago. And Gary Roberts. There you go. Let's move on to our next pack here. Hope you're enjoying this. Hope you're, if you're a fan of hockey, hope this is kind of like a nice trip down memory lane for you with some of these names that we're seeing. Some great guys here and some great memories, obviously. Would love to get a Daryl Sittler card. Brian Glennie, another one, I mean. Brian Glennie, Jim Dory, Lanny McDonald again, Nick Metz from the 40s. And here comes our insert card of, oh yeah, Johnny Bower. What a legend he was. And that's the Hockey Hall of Fame card for him. And if you don't know Johnny Bower's name and you follow hockey, you need to follow hockey closer because he's one of the great ones. Gordy Drillian, Gary Lehman, the second Leaf to ever score 50 goals. And Red Horner, wow, this one's going back to the 1920s, 1928-29. Wow, can you imagine that? That's what you get when you get 100 years of history, right? You got to get a little bit of everybody. Chances of pulling autographs in these tins is not very good. There is a chance to pull patches. It's very small, but at least there's an option for it. Dion Phaneuf, captain of the Leafs for a while. Alan Bester, yet another person who I met. An interesting fact that he told me, which I've mentioned on my channel before, his rookie card, if you ever get a chance to look at his rookie card, he told me that that rookie card is not him on the card. It's another Leaf goalie by the name of Rick St. Croix. So when you get his rookie card, if you ever collected it, take a close look because it's not him. Tyler Bozak. Up next, trophy winners with Sil Apps looking hilarious there, that crown. Here we go. We also got a die cut card for Jamie McCowan, great defenseman with the Leafs during the Gilmore years. Jim McKenney, wow, Jim McKenney, who actually became a commentator on the sports news in his later years. I used to watch the sports news, and he was always on. Ace Bailey, and the guy by the name of Austin Matthews in our second last pack there. Started in 2016-17, closing in, not quite there, but he's closing in on a decade of playing hockey. Can you believe that already? All right, our final pack. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Terry Martin, Todd Warner. Oh, these names from the past are great. Another one of the Leaf greats on defense. Ian Turnbull, amazing, amazing defenseman. Another one who passed away. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Memorable moments of Wendell Clarkey. There we go, from April 5th, 1986. Fantastic. Ron Ellis. Terry Sawchuk, another great one there. Pat Boutet. Oh, the memories are pouring in. And our final card is Dmitry Skavich, longtime defenseman for the Leafs. You can see he played from 95 to 2001. So that's what those Centennial cards look like for the Leafs. They're pretty darn cool. I think the fact that they got these die cut shaped like Maple Leafs was very creative for them. Let's take a look at just the hits we got out of it. The die cuts are Barry Melrose, Jamie McCowan, Jonas Hoagland, Brian Berard, Laurie Boschman, and Al Iafredi. And then for the insert hits we got the memorable moments of Wendell Clark, Salap's trophy winner, fantastic card, Johnny Bauer, Gary Roberts. Oh, that might be one of the regular base cards. I've got them mixed up in there. I did get them mixed up in there. Sorry about that. Let's get back to the hits. Lanny McDonald with the memorable moments, and I skipped one there. Bring that back, of Don Metz, also with the memorable moments. Bobby Bond, Doug Gilmour with the captain's card, and back-to-back favorite players. Retired numbers for Boreas Salming. If you don't know much about Boreas Salming, read up on. He was a game changer. Norm Allman with the Hockey Hall of Fame card. And finally, the memorable moments of Daryl Sittler, my all-time favorite player growing up as a kid. Really special for me, and I'm sure for a lot of other people there. And let's not forget that Daryl is still the only player in NHL history to get 10 points in a game, something that none of the other greats have ever done. And hopefully that record stands for a long time for him, because it's nice to see a guy who didn't get the Stanley Cup have something else that really meant a lot to him. Let me know what you thought about all these cards. There's a lot of base cards there, eh? Really fun rips, but like I said, it's not quite the same as ripping the hobby box, where you get a little bit more like autographs and a lot more patches and gold parallels in there. But it's still a fun rip because of the memorable insignia you get with the Stanley Cup banners. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Catch you later.